Well, 11 years in the NFL, and what a career. You went from Super Bowls with the Seahawks to the Lions to Daniel Jones. You had an incredible career, a Notre Damer, a Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champ. So I want to go back. Golden Tate is joining us. I want to go back. So you come into the NFL and you go to the Seahawks. And Pete Carroll starts getting that mojo ready. You're there with Russell, Marshawn Lynch. You're feeling like this NFL stuff. This is like Notre Dame. I got nothing but great players. Take me back, because a lot of people think that was the last great NFL team. Like, not just Kansas City's winning games, but physically humiliating teams. When you're in that bubble in Seattle up in the Northwest, did it feel like it was going to last forever?
It really did. I felt like we all felt like we could play forever. I know I came in, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I'm going to play NFL football forever. And we had success as soon as I stepped on into the organization. We get Marshawn Lynch. We beat the defending champions. We got in the playoffs at, 7-9 that year.
Yes, and you beat New Orleans,
New Orleans.
At home in Seattle.
Exactly. And then we come back next year, didn't have a so great year. But then we got back. We came in our third year.
Blew people up.
And just came onto the scene. In my fourth year, we were predicted to win the Super Bowl, and we felt like unless we got hurt, we had a really good chance of winning the Super Bowl as well. Yeah. And we just stayed focused. And we were young. We were dumb. We would do whatever it took, and it worked out. I mean, the economy was great. Being in Seattle with the tech boom, the fan base is phenomenal. 12-man is unreal. I mean, it was the best time of my life until I met my wife and had my kids.
Yeah, I know, but you know, what's interesting, then you go to losing Detroit. So you go from what we thought would be a 7-year dynasty, and it was about a 3-year, scene there. And then young teams age and things happen and you got to pay Russ, and that's the way the world works. So then you go to Detroit, and I think it's an important question because, and I've said this before, outside of the occasional Andrew Luck or Joe Burrow, quarterbacks are as good as where they land. Mm-hmm. You can only do – so what was it like to go from Seattle, and this is not a knock on Detroit, the city, or Matt Stafford, to an organization that can't get out of its way for a lot of the last 20 years?
You don't know what you don't know. I was young. I felt like I was a big reason why Seattle went to the Super Bowl, so I could do the same thing in Detroit. Sure. I knew that we had Matthew Stafford, who was a top-tier quarterback. We had Megatron, we already knew was going to be a Hall of Famer. And we had a solid defense, and I saw a lot of opportunity. And so it didn't work out that way. My first year there, we felt like we had a really good chance to go all the way, and then, of course, the Cowboys ruined that with paying the refs or whatever they did. And then after that, we kind of settled down. And what I learned from the two organizations is that in order to be successful year in and year out, you have to be connected at the very top and all the way to the bottom. And when the top pulls, the bottom needs to be moving as well. And when I got to Detroit, it was just a little bit of disconnect. Now, it got better each year. The city got better. The organization got better. The amenities got better. So it got better. And I finally we're there. I'm excited about Detroit this year.
And then you moved to the Giants.
Exactly.
Now, you were there for Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you'd moved inside. You were a slot.
Mm-hmm.
So I've said this about Daniel Jones. I can see he's big, and I can see he can run. And he went to Duke, so he's got to be smart. But the apprehension, what do I see that is not quite right? Because I know he's big enough. He can make all the throws, can he not?
Absolutely. I mean, he's a specimen. I mean, the guy can run, he can throw, he's smart.
Quiet.
Now, yeah, he's very quiet. He's very quiet. Now, my thing is I think he's too smart for his own good at times. I think he overanalyzes. I've
heard that
at times. But I think the bowl and Kafka,
Brian Dable,
they're figuring it out. I think those three working together is nice. We saw last year that they did some things. And if you get Saquon Barkley on the field and Daniel, I mean, that's two running backs in a way that can run the ball. And then you bring Waller in. Waller's a player.
No,
he's a baller.
No, I saw him at the Super Bowl. We saw him at this area before I don't know where we saw him. It was some like complimentary food area. We looked at him. We're like, That dude could, like, in the association, like, he is a man.
Yes.
You know, it's interesting, though. You said this about Daniel Jones, and I've heard this about other players. Andrew Luck was a really smart kid, but Andrew would just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes these kids, it's paralysis by analysis. Daniel tends to double clutch. Think about it. And he's a very reserved, quiet kid. New York is overwhelming. Can he make it in New York? New York's different. You played there. It's different.
It is. They're harsh at times, but I think you can make it, but you have to ignore the noise. Everyone's an expert in New York and New Jersey in sports, and it's everyone knows football so well. So as long as you ignore the noise and just keep it intimate within the coaches and your teammates, you have a chance. This year is going to be huge for him. I think Daniel has a chance to play up to his contract. I think we all will agree that he got paid a lot, and we're still wondering if it was justified.
Fair.
But I think this could be the year.
Can he make all the throws?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
You're there. You're in the slot. He can make the throws.
Without
that was a COVID year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had him when he's young, so he's still trying to figure it all out. The game is fast. I'm a slot guy. You got guys, defenders inside, outside, back up. I mean, it was a lot. So, but he made some really good throws. Like, I mean, thinking about the preseason, his first preseason, I think he went, 4 for 4, and threw a touchdown when he was a rookie. So he had it back then, and now he's just getting smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
He's getting more comfortable. He's got his second year with Kafka. That's going to be good. So we'll see what happens.
The the preseason stuff, you can't take much from it. I did think it was interesting. Golden Tate joining us if you're listening on radio. That Sean Payton played the starters 4 series, and that's telling me this thing's clunky. Like, we got to get this stuff right because practice ain't pretty. I mean, that's what it tells me. What does it tell you?
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, there's some issues over there, and they're still trying to work them out. And you have time, just not a lot of time. But I'm not worried because Sean Payton is still Sean Payton, and Russell Wilson knows how to play ball, and he's a smart player. And if you think about it, Sean Payton had Jameis Winston for 2 years, and he led the league in like touchdowns or something like that. Now, he also had a lot of picks, but
he works with everybody.
He knows how to work with them, and they have talent there. Their defense is going to be solid. I think Sean Payton's coming in there with structure. You're not doing it your way, you're doing it my way. He's very uniform, and I think that's what they need.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what happens. But it's still early, so that's not panic just yet. But, we're all looking.
Yeah. It is interesting when you we had a story last week that we really played a lot into, is that it's easy to say practice doesn't matter. But there's a couple of things that are happening in the NFL. Is that fewer starters are playing in the preseason. Mm-hmm. So Sean McVay decided several years ago, I'm not playing starters, and they went 8-0 to start. And I think a lot of people looked at that and said, why am I going to have my starters out? I mean, I'm watching this weekend. I'm crossing my fingers guys don't get hurt.
Right.
And so fewer and fewer good players are playing in preseason. So it's made practice a little more important. The inter-squad games now are really intense. And so Dak last week had a series of really bad picks. The video came out, and it's easy to say it's no big deal. Is it no big deal? He led the league in picks last year. Yeah. Is it no big deal? What do you make of veteran quarterbacks, picks in practice? How big is practice?
Practice is very important. However, practice is where you're supposed to try all your new tricks, all your new moves, your jukes, and all that. And that's what I did. I tried them, and some of them worked, some of them didn't. Now, Dak is on America's team, and so he's under the microscope.
Right.
Dak is also under the microscope because he had 15 picks last year.
Right.
And so now I don't think the picks in practice are the biggest deal because that's going to happen. I remember Russell throwing 3 picks in practice at some point, Daniel, Eli. I mean, everyone's probably done it at some point. It's only we're on alert now because of last year.
Yeah.
Is I think the issue. And so we're watching to see what's going to happen, whenever he's on the field again and moving forward. But it's not the biggest deal, but we're all on alert and we're watching.
Yeah. And the other thing, Golden Tate joining us, is that now Mike's calling the plays. Kellen Moore's gone. So Brian Daboll clearly helped Josh Allen as a play caller. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not arguable. Shane Steichen, so good with Jalen Hurts. And so Kellen Moore now goes to Justin Herbert. And I want take your time on this. Explain to the audience, just a coordinator, like Shane Steichen literally took Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts. First year with them, you're like, wow. What does a coordinator do? Is it the play calls? Is it his system? Why is, Kellen Moore, they were 6th, 1st, and 4th in offense. He leaves the building. It's something. What is an offensive coordinator in your life as a receiver? Was the head coach the key, the coordinator the key?
I think when you're speaking about the quarterback, the coordinator is the biggest key. That's who you're going to spend the most time with as a quarterback. And he's going to teach you the do's, the don'ts, the game. He's going to learn what you like, what I like. And it is imperative that the offensive coordinator and quarterback can work together and put all pride aside and forget about what I did last year or 5 years ago when I had this team and figure out a way to figure out, okay, this quarterback likes this concept. He likes being under center or in the shotgun. He's comfortable in the pocket or out the pocket play action. You have to figure all this out.
When was the best you saw in your career in the NFL, quarterback-coordinator relationship, where you felt like it was just a symphony, it was harmony?
I would say he was not the coordinator when he started, but he ended up being Stafford and Jim Bob Cooter.
Oh, they had a couple good years together.
Yeah.
Now it's Ben Johnson, I think, is the young coordinator. So that popped for a couple years. Why?
Because Stafford knew what he was good at. Jim Bob knew what he was good at, and he was trying to find just more looks to make you feel comfortable. Because if you can get 1% better each day or under the center, that's just one less thing to think about. Okay, so if you want to run a slant or a spot route, you can run it like 8 different ways. You can run it out of bunch. You can run it out of spread. You can run it out of 3-by-1. You can run it out of so many different ways. And so if that's my best concept and there's a 3rd and 4, why call something I'm not comfortable with? Call a spot route. I know the defenses. I know where guys are going to be and go from there. So they were so good at figuring out what he did well, and it just worked together.
So you work with Russell, Matt Stafford, Daniel Jones, Eli Manning, Carson Wentz. So I'm going to mention all those quarterbacks in just a sentence on what they did well.
Okay.
Like their secret sauce. Let's start with Russell Wilson, his secret sauce.
Elusive. He was never going to get sacked. He was going to find his way out of it.
Yeah. He didn't get hit much.
He's going to find his way out of it, and it was backyard football after that. Once you got the pocket, play backyard football. He might run. He might throw it deep, but just be ready.
Okay, Matt Stafford.
He could any throw he made, it was accurate, and he made it look easy. I remember we played in London, and I'm like, I think 60 yards down the field, and he scrambles out, and I see him about to throw it, and he made it look like he was throwing like a 20-yard route, and that thing just landed right in my hands for a touchdown.
Effortless.
Just too easy.
Daniel Jones.
I would say strong runner, and when I was with him, still trying to figure it out, but you see a lot of potential. You see that, man, if this clicks, he is going to be dangerous.
Okay. He was a 6th pick. Eli Manning. You got old Eli.
Yeah. Eli was just lighthearted, funny, laid back. I think he knew it was, he was about done. So he was kind of just riding off into the sun, hanging out. However, I did get a chance to catch a touchdown pass, and I gave him the ball, so I felt pretty good.
And finally, Carson Wentz, who had talent, didn't work out, but he had talent.
Carson.
You can take your time.
So Carson is a good friend of mine, and when I played with him, it was unfair because I think he just got in the back and the neck issue, so he was just battling, and he is the ultimate competitor. He wants to be on the field, and he was willing to play through whatever pain he was dealing with.
He was hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Like even playing hurt.
Yeah. But that guy can make incredible throws while being tackled. It was crazy. He would have guys wrapped around him and make a good throw. Like, whoa, I thought you were going to get sacked. And then next thing you know, the ball's right there and the play is a first down or extended play. So that's what stuck. And he was huge. I mean, Carson is just tall and thick. He just
Yeah, Josh Allen-like.
Yeah.
Golden Tate, 11 years in the NFL. So what are your expectations? Because New York is a lot of everything. There's a lot to unpack about it, but it's also amazing. The energy of New York is what always struck me when I lived in Connecticut. You go there for a night or a weekend. The energy's amazing. Aaron and the Jets should work, but there's just it's a lot of eyes on it. Mm-hmm. What are you going to be looking for in that relationship?
Well, I personally feel pretty confident that Aaron's going to go over there and do very well. I believe he's going to do well because he's getting Hackett back, which he did well with him during his career. And seeing Aaron twice a year for about 5 years, he understands defenses so well. And if they just give him the freedom of like, okay, I see that they're about to try to blitz me, I'm going to just give you this very simple little route. And this simple route could be a tight end who was supposed to be blocking, run to the flat, the two receivers out there with him block. And next thing you know, it's an explosive play simply because he saw that there was these two guys blitzing. And so as long as he can change plays, throw a deep ball, I think they're going to be just fine. And now he's got some really good weapons out there with Wilson. I'm excited. I'm excited to see Aaron out there.
Yeah. Hard Knocks, docu-series on Netflix. As a former player, do you watch this stuff?
I would watch it when I was in camp a little bit, but now that I got babies who don't
like
football, I have to kind of sacrifice my time. And
you got 3 kids, 5, 4, and 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of work.
I'm in the fire right now. Like being here is like kind of like a little vacation right now.
That's how we think it is for all our guests, a little bit of vacation. What a pleasure to meet you. Love to have you back.
Absolutely. I'd love to be here.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.